When Laura walked out of our house that morning, she didn't even glance back. The wheels of her suitcase rattled across the concrete, sounding like applause for the end of something meant to last forever. I stood in the doorway, pretending I didn't care, pretending I was fine. But the truth was, I'd been hurting long before she packed her bags. Our marriage had faded into a shadow of what it once was. No laughter, no warmth, just two strangers sharing bills. The divorce papers were only a formality. She signed them with a smile, like she'd finally won something. And maybe she had. The first few days after she left were quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that sinks into your bones. I woke up expecting to hear her footsteps in the kitchen, but all I heard was the refrigerator humming and the echo of my regrets. I wasn't angry at her, not at first, just disappointed. Then the pictures came. Someone sent me a photo of Laura smiling at a restaurant, holding hands with a man I'd never seen before. The timestamp said 2 days after the divorce. 2 days. That's all it took for her to move on. That night, I poured myself a drink and stared at the empty living room. Everything reminded me of her. The couch where we used to sit, the honeymoon photo on the wall, the perfume still lingering in the hallway. I wondered if she'd ever truly loved me at all. 2 days later, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, I froze. Standing there in the cool evening light was Hannah, Laura's younger sister, the one who used to tease me at family dinners, the one who rolled her eyes at how uptight Laura had become. Hannah looked nervous, but there was something else in her eyes too, something I couldn't quite read. "Hey," she said softly. "Can we talk?" I stepped aside without a word. She walked in, her coat still buttoned, hair damp from the rain. She glanced around like she expected Laura to appear from behind the furniture. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered, "but I couldn't stop thinking about you." I frowned. "About me?" She nodded, looking down. "I know what Laura's been doing. She's been bragging about that guy she met before the divorce was even final. I thought you should know." My chest tightened. "Before the divorce?" Hannah nodded again, biting her lip. "They met months ago. She said she was just testing the waters, making sure she had a backup before leaving you." It felt like a punch to the stomach. I'd suspected betrayal, but hearing it from her sister made it real. "You didn't deserve that," Hannah said softly, stepping closer. "I told her she was making a mistake. She laughed at me." I studied her face. She wasn't lying. Her eyes carried the same exhaustion I felt. Maybe we were both victims of Laura's selfishness. "Thank you for telling me," I said quietly. She gave a small smile. "I just couldn't stand seeing you like that." We stood there in silence, two people caught in someone else's chaos. Then she sighed and sat on the couch, unbuttoning her coat. "Funny thing," she said, looking around. "This place used to feel cold when Laura was here, but now it feels kind of nice." I laughed softly. "I've been cleaning, trying to start over." She looked at me closely. "Maybe you should. You're not the man she made you out to be." The way she said it stayed with me. Honest, gentle, but filled with something deeper. We talked for hours about family mistakes and how sometimes people leave your life so better ones can come in. When she finally stood to go, the rain had stopped. At the door, she hesitated. "Would it be strange if I checked on you again, just to see how you're doing?" I smiled. "Not strange at all." She smiled back, cheeks slightly pink. "Good, because I think you deserve someone who actually appreciates you." I watched her walk away under the misty streetlight. For the first time since the divorce, I didn't feel broken. I felt curious. 2 days ago, I lost my wife. Tonight, I might have met someone worth finding. Hannah began visiting every few days. At first, it was just to check in, but soon she stopped pretending. She'd show up with coffee, dinner, or a movie idea. It felt natural, almost too natural. She was easy to talk to, funny and grounded, where Laura had been sharp and controlling. Hannah was open and real. She listened when I spoke, laughed at my bad jokes, and told stories about growing up in the same house as Laura, filled with competition, silence, and expectations. I used to admire her, Hannah admitted one night as we sat on the couch, the TV light flickering across her face. She always seemed to have everything together, but then I realized she didn't care who she hurt as long as she won. I looked at her, the sadness in her voice cutting deep. "You're nothing like her," I said. She turned to me, surprised. "You really think so?" "I know so," I replied. Something shifted after that. She didn't move closer, but she didn't need to. The silence between us felt warm and charged, the kind shared by two people who'd been hurt but still hoped again. After she left that night, I caught myself smiling. It scared me how easy it was to think about her, but I realized I hadn't smiled like that in months. A few days later, Laura called. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. Her voice sounded casual, too casual. "Hey, I left some things at the house. Mind if I come get them?" "Sure," I said calmly. "When?" "Tomorrow afternoon." When she arrived, she looked different. Designer clothes, heavy makeup, the same forced confidence I once mistook for strength. She walked in like she still owned the place, glancing around the newly arranged living room. "You've been busy," she said, crossing her arms. "Just cleaning up," I replied. Her eyes drifted to the couch, where a blanket was still spread out, the one Hannah had brought over the night before. I caught the flicker of recognition on her face. "Who's been helping you clean?" she asked, her voice tightening. I gave a small smile. "A friend." Her expression darkened. "Hannah?" I didn't answer, but I didn't have to. She let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Wow, you didn't waste any time, did you?" I met her eyes calmly. Says the woman who started dating before we even finalized the divorce. That silenced her. For a moment, she just stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Then she shook her head, forcing a smirk. "You really think she cares about you? She's just doing this to get back at me." "Maybe it started that way," I said. "But that's not what it is now." Her smile wavered. "You actually believe that?" I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She grabbed her bag, muttered something under her breath, and stormed out. That night, Hannah texted me. "Did she come by?" "Yeah," I replied. "It went exactly how you'd expect." A minute later, she wrote back. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make things harder for you." I paused, then typed, "You didn't. You made things clearer." A few seconds passed before my phone buzzed again. "Then let me come over tomorrow. I'll bring dinner." No more lonely takeout nights. The next evening, she did just that. We ate, laughed, and for the first time, I saw her not as Laura's sister, but simply as Hannah. Her warmth filled every quiet corner Laura had left behind. When she rested her head on my shoulder as the night grew late, it didn't feel wrong. It felt right. It felt earned, like something born from pain but unwilling to stay bitter. Weeks went by. The gossip started, of course. Mutual friends whispered, people judged. Laura tried to stir trouble, painting me as the villain, but no one believed her anymore. She had burned too many bridges. One evening, Hannah and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. She reached for my hand and smiled. "You know," she said softly, "I used to think falling for you would ruin everything. But now, I think it saved me." I looked at her, the woman who showed up when my world was falling apart, and smiled back. "No," I said, "we saved each other." And just like that, the house that once felt like a tomb began to feel like a home again. Because sometimes happiness doesn't knock twice, unless it carries your ex-wife's last name.